Hello everyone, this is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane. Welcome to our hip mobility class, 15 minutes, that's all you need. We're going to be concentrating on moving our hips, so this is called dynamic stretching. There's a constant moving from side to side, swaying, doing some simple, basic lunges. Pretty much everybody can do this class. This is for beginners and beyond. So let's get started. So coming onto your hands and knees, we're going to begin with pressing back into a child's pose. Bring your big toes together, knees wide. This is probably a nice way to begin a class, and especially a hip opener or a hip mobility class. And let's press back and try and get the heels as close to the bottom to your heels as possible without forcing it. Not all of us can get our bottom to our heels, so don't feel bad about if you can't. And let your forehead rest on the ground or make a little pillow with your hands. And let's just take just a moment here to begin to let ourselves connect with the ground, but also with our breathing. So let's let the eyes close and take a few breaths in and a few breaths out. Gentle inhales and exhales. Warming up the body with the breath, feeling into those hip joints. And let's inhale back, let's come into our tabletop now. This is where make sure the wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are under the hips. And we're going to start with just a few little sways of the hips from side to side. Just waking these up. Now, if it's morning for you, perfect. If it's evening, perfect. Any time of the day, you can actually do this is a great stretch out for your hips. Come back to stillness, and we're going to bring your left leg back behind you. Straighten it, and we will be circling the hips. Then bend that left knee and bring your left knee out to the side and then back in towards your right knee without touching down onto the ground. Lift back again, bend the knee and circle it all the way around back to the right knee. We'll do this 2 more times. Press back, open that left knee out and bring that knee back in. 1 more set, press back, bend the knee, and this time when you bring it back in, let's keep it there and push back into a child's pose again. Take a moment here. And I'll just spin around, you don't have to move. We're going to lift back up into our tabletop, wrists are under shoulders, just keep adjusting the wrists so they're not too far forward and they're underneath your knees. And then we're going to extend, now we're on the right leg. Reach your right leg back and then bend your right knee, bring it out to the side and then back in towards your left knee and then reach again. Inhaling, then opening and then closing. So inhaling as you stretch through that right leg, exhale, opening, and then let the leg drop down. 1 more time, inhaling back, exhaling, opening. This time the right knee comes back down toward next to your left knee and press back into a child's pose. A few little wiggles from side to side. So we spend a lot of time sitting. I'll spin back around. And as you take an inhale, come back into your tabletop. So you return to the tabletop position, curl the toes under, exhale, downward dog. Not all of us find we can be in the downward dog for too long. You know, your wrists begin to speak loudly. So feel free to always come back into your child's pose and do a little wiggle down on your hands and knees. Otherwise, follow me. Let's bend and straighten the legs, swaying the hips from side to side, loosening up those hip joints. So we sit, most of us sit all day or the majority of the day, and we don't get enough, we're ending, what's happening is we're losing over time the mobility in our hips. Let's do it one more bend and straighten of those legs, and then straighten the legs. Both legs are straight. You can do this from your knees or from your downward dog. Step your right foot between your hands and take your left leg and slide it back. Fingertips on the ground. If you have yoga blocks, feel free to bring the yoga blocks and place them next to your feet, that right foot. And what we're going to do here is you're going to inhale, deep breath in, and as you exhale, bend that knee down, just hover it off the ground, and then inhale back up and re-straighten. Exhale, bend, and then inhale, straighten. Make sure your right knee's directly over that right ankle, and then straighten and bend. As you exhale, inhale, straighten. Let's step back into our downward dogs or the child's pose, and then sway from side to side again. Yeah, so not everybody can touch the ground, so the yoga blocks, which I have back here, might be really helpful for that. And then let's come back to stillness, re-straightening those legs. Take an inhale from either from the ground or from your downward dog. Step your left foot between your hands. Right leg reaches back. That's and left knee over your left ankle. Let's bend your right knee down. As you exhale, inhale, re-straighten. Exhale, bend. So lots of wonderful stretchers and strengtheners of your legs right now, but also the hip flexors, lower back, and then bend and straighten. So the exhalation is the bend, inhale is the straighten, and exhale and inhale. Let's take a breath in and step back, downward dog. Little movements from side to side, loosening up those hips. Take a pause here. Press back into a child's pose. Knees can be wide or closer together, arms on the ground, and take one full breath in and one full breath out. And let's inhale back into your tabletop. Curling the toes under, downward dog again. This time, take a breath in and step your right foot between your hands. And lower your left knee down. You can always put something underneath that knee if you need to, a blanket or something. And then from here, you're going to bend your right knee. So we're going to go into something else, a little bit, almost identical to what we did before, but we're going to be bending the front leg. So bending and straightening the front leg. Inhaling forward and exhaling, folding over that right leg. This right leg doesn't necessarily have to be straight. Inhaling forward and exhale, straighten. We're really concentrating on the hips more than the hamstrings right now. Inhaling, bending, exhaling, straighten. Inhaling, bending, and then a blocks if you need them, and straighten. Inhaling, bending. This time exhaling, straighten. And then inhale, bend, and then let's step back, downward dog. Little wiggles of the hips again. You're going to start to feel, oh, I'm feeling better here. Feeling a little bit more, my hips, when our hips are a little bit more freer, or they're a little bit more, let's just take a breath in and let's step the left foot between your hands. Lower that right knee down. When you free up your hip joints, and they're lubricated, you feel better. Let's inhale, bend that left knee, and then straighten your left leg as you exhale. Inhaling, bend. Exhale, straighten. And I like to flex the foot. You just get more out of the back of the leg. You'll be able to stretch out the calf and the Achilles tendon. Inhale, lift forward, exhale back. So continuous movement as if you're greasing up these hip joints and forward. And this time, bend the knee and then exhale back into your downward dogs. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, walk to the front of the mat and fold forward into your forward bend. Take a pause here. Take an inhale and exhale. Opposite hand to opposite elbow. This should feel nice on your back. Your spine you're giving your spine a moment of release and stretch. And then release the hands from your elbows, inhaling halfway, exhaling forward fold, and that's inhale, come all the way up to standing, lifting your arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. A few half sun salutations. Inhale, reach your arms up, just staying at the front of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling halfway, exhaling forward fold. And inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. This time, inhale, reach your arms up. Exhaling, forward fold. This time, inhale halfway, which is pushing into your shins, and then stepping back into a downward dog again. So take a breath in and take a breath out, and little wiggles of the hips as we've been doing all during this practice. And then straighten your legs, take your left foot in towards your right foot just a little bit, an inch or so, and reach your right leg up to the sky. You can do this on your hands and knees as well. And from here, I want you to flex your right foot, the one that's up there, and stack it over your left. So you're opening up that right hip and lifting that right hip towards the ceiling. It's pointing towards the ceiling. Bend your right knee. Again, if you need to do it on your hands and knees, feel free to do it that way. You can get, it's just as good. It's just as good. And then re-straighten your right leg, square the hips to the ground, and then step your right foot between your hands, and then make sure that right knee's just above your right ankle, and then flatten out your back foot, and then cartwheel your arms up into warrior two. So here we are. Adjust your legs first. To adjust myself. Reach your arms out. It's not always easy, is it? And then right knee just above the ankle or slightly behind it, never beyond it, okay? And take a look. You're all set. Arms stay out like a T, and that's where they will remain. You're going to straighten your front leg as you inhale, and then exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. All that's moving is your front leg. Bend and straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. This time, exhale, bend and hold. Take your right forearm on that right thigh, press down, left arm up. If you've been doing this for a while, you've been practicing, you've been in yogging for a long time, you can place your right hand either inside that thigh or inside that right foot or outside, all the way down to the ground. I'm going to give you this version. So pressing into the right thigh, lift your left arm up to the sky, and feel free to also bring that left arm over your left ear if that feels okay. And from here, I want you to take your left sit bone, so left bottom cheek, and tuck it under. Yeah, should feel working. You'll feel automatically your left hip bone, you'll feel something happening there, a little bit of a stretch. And take an inhale and exhale, lift back up. Turn your body towards the front leg, curl the back toes under, and then step back, downward dog. Let's go on to the other side. Right foot in towards your left foot. Inhale your left leg up and open up your left hip, just like we did on the first side. And what we're doing here is you're bending your left leg, if that works for you, and bringing that left heel in towards your right bottom cheek. And again, just to show you in case of, you can do this in this shape with the right knee down. Then you re-straighten your left leg and square the hips towards the ground, and then step your left foot between your hands. Flatten out that back foot and you're going to cartwheel your arms up and open the arms out to the sides. I'm going to spin around. You can stay there. You don't have to do much here, so you don't have to really look at me if you're now turned away from me or wherever you might be on your mat. Left knee directly over that left ankle or slightly behind it. Reach your arms out, soften the shoulders down, and take a breath in and bend that knee and then straighten. As you inhale, exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. So working these hip joints, you could probably feel, lots of creakiness in our hips. Reminds me of the Tin Man. And then straighten, and then this time bend and hold. So from here, you're going to place your left arm on your left thigh, or some of you might be able to place the hand on the ground behind or in front of that left foot. I'm going to show you this version with the left arm. I would suggest this to at least begin here, wherever you might be. Even if you've been doing, you've been practicing for a long, long time, this is a nice place to start with the left arm lying on top of the left leg, and reach your right arm up to the sky and feel free to bring that right arm over your right ear if that works for your shoulder. And now take your right bottom cheek, you can feel it, and then just squeeze it under a little bit. So that sit bone is engaging that right hip bone. And then take an inhale and then exhale, open those arms and then spin your right toes forward, lower the hands down, step back into your downward dogs and lower the knees to the ground. And let's come and sit down for a moment. Place the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. Take your hands behind your back and on the ground behind you, and let's just bring the heels as close in as possible and let the knees open and open up the chest at the same time. Releasing. Feels nice because we've just concentrated primarily on the hips, the lower part of our body, so it's kind of nice to open up the chest. And let's just extend our legs forward. I'll spin around to stretch out the backs of the legs. Let your head soften down. Take a few breaths here. And from here, you're welcome to take a moment in Shavasana where you lie down and take a minute or two, or maybe even longer, and rest. Otherwise, you can come up into your easy seat, back into where we started sitting in our cross-legged seat, and take a moment here I always say, check in when you first start a yoga practice by sitting and closing the eyes and checking into how you're feeling physically, emotionally, mentally. And then at the end, because you'll find that at the end, you're very different from how you felt when you first sat down. And it's a real kind of an epiphany at times. Sometimes it's really strong. It's very, it's very, very intense. And it's obvious that things have shifted in terms of how you felt from the beginning to the end. And that's how we learn about ourselves, how just by moving our bodies and adjusting different parts of our bodies on a physical level changes how we feel on a mental and emotional level. So that's the beauty of exercise, really, and stretching. So we're going to complete this practice as I bring my hands in front of my heart, thanking you for being part of this 15-minute hip mobility practice. And if you enjoy my classes, if you'd like to see more of my classes, just press the button over there on the right-hand corner, subscribe, comment, let me know what you like, what you dislike, and thumbs up. Other than that, thank you so much for being with me. This is Rebecca Jane from yogawithrebeccajane.com, and I'll see you soon.